Tell people a little bit about this recruitment program that King County started, and what was the genesis behind it?
There are really few opportunities for apprenticeships in the trades, much less than there used to be, even though the demand for these jobs continues to increase. And our operator in training, or OIT program, helps to fill this critical gap. It helps us to replace our workforce with really talented recruits that we've trained ourselves. And the program provides jobs and career opportunities for, importantly, for communities that we serve, and helps our workforce better reflect the diversity of those communities. Um, a lot of our wastewater operators began working with us 20 or 30 years ago when we saw a large expansion in our system following the passage of the Clean Water Act and the associated standards for water quality. So we fast forward to today, and we're starting to see you've heard the term silver tsunami of retirements coming our way.
Yep.
So we started the program 7 years ago, and it's really gotten better and more robust every year. Our program today sees more than 70%, that's 70, of trainees go on to become long-term employees of wastewater treatment division. And for a little bit of numbers, this year we had over 170 applicants for 7 positions. So we're getting about a 10-to-1 ratio there. I would love to have more positions, and we're working to grow the program as best we can.
That's fantastic. Tell me a little bit about how you realized that you needed to have a broader pool too.
One of the top areas of feedback that we get when we talk to communities, we do a lot of community outreach, is a desire for well-paying and stable long-term jobs. Some of the communities that we serve have members that have not had the same educational or career building opportunities as others. And we also discovered unintended barriers in our recruitment and hiring processes. We've worked hard to try to remove those barriers to attract a larger candidate pool. And the people that we're hiring have great skills and talents, and weren't finding their way into the door. We used to have requirements for wastewater certificates or a AA degree or something else that would be a barrier to becoming an operator. But we really discovered that that wasn't necessary when we could offer our own training. So now anybody who has a high school diploma is eligible to apply with no background at all in wastewater treatment, and they can get trained on the job and get paid to do it. And as a result, our workforce is becoming more diverse and is better reflecting those communities that we serve. In fact, our present data shows that nearly 20% of our operators are women and 42% are BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, or people of color. Nationally, those figures are less than 6% and about 25%. So we're doing a little bit better than some of our peer agencies, and we still have work to do. But it's a good indicator that these methods of recruitment and engagement are in fact working, and that they're finding traction with those applicants and those communities.
Did you have any pushback from your existing staff that you were just watering down the criteria to get more people in the door? Was that an issue? And if so, how did you resolve it?
It has been. I'd say it's much less of an issue now because people have seen how the program has worked, and they're now working side by side with people who have come up through the program. We hear it still occasionally, and I think that's just part of the normal change process that any agency goes through. Needs for the organization may change over time. These kind of programs are really helpful. So as we had experience with them, people that might have had questions or concerns have seen the results. Those concerns have diminished.
Tell us more about how the actual recruitment process works.
We are always looking for partners and help to identify candidates to make application. We do our own recruitment advertising processes, but we really do want to continuously expand that and use new tools to do that going forward. Often we find word of mouth is actually one of the better things. So as someone comes into the program, if they have friends or family members, we find that those are often the best ways to get the next person to express interest. But once they've applied, it's largely run in-house. So we have our own staff that screen through the candidates, do the interviews, and then we form a new class or cohort. So when we go through the hiring process, there's a higher level of familiarity, and that's one of the reasons why I think people are finding their way in very high numbers.
Have you all thought through that particular challenge of, bringing in, someone who's early 20s and is trying to decide what to do with their life?
Yeah. We're having that conversation all the time in King County WTD. And, one of the things I see out there, and it's not just limited to us, is that college has gotten enormously expensive. People can go into terrible debt with a college degree. And I'm not dissing college, I'm a fan, but it's not for everybody. And it's not the only pathway to a successful life. And so, making sure that we can connect well with people that would be thinking about an alternative to going to university or college, and instead thinking about joining our workforce. I think it can be a very worthwhile thing. And yeah, you mentioned the yuck factor with wastewater. The converse is that we're in the clean water business. We're in the business to make something better.
Yeah.
And we're in the business to help protect the environment. And that's the way our workforce sees themselves. They don't really think about, that's not what you're thinking about on the day to day on the job. You have to deal with stuff that is yucky and messy, but your role is to really add value and make it better. And when we're successful, we're meeting our permit conditions, we're exceeding them in many ways, we're saving energy, we're doing a better job of connecting with the communities that we serve, looking to lighten our climate footprint. Then you can get excited about that kind of role, and know that you've got a big part of delivering on that role. And that's what excites me about continuing this program, is bringing people in who can really help deliver on our mission, and really take it to heart themselves.
What are some lessons learned that you could share, pieces of advice you could provide to someone at another utility in another part of the country who's looking to do something similar to this?
Yeah, I absolutely. And I think we're still learning and still trying to refine the program. We're actually talking about expanding this to some of the trades, looking at maintenance workers as another way to grow our own, and starting a program that would be a complement to the OIT, like a MWIT, maintenance worker and training program. And so we'll learn from our OIT program and put those lessons to work in developing a new program. A couple of thoughts on if a utility is interested in starting these is, start with yourself. Try to remove those barriers to entry. Maybe get some expertise or use your own employees to help identify what those really are. Question those minimum requirements and ask yourself, are these really necessary as a barrier or a gateway for someone to come in and be successful here? What if we offered training in that skill, that expertise? Could we grow our own expertise in that way? And build relationships with the communities that you serve. They can be sources for your next employees. The young people that are there, or maybe they're not the young people, maybe they're the people in their middle ages that are still got a good career in front of them. They may be great future workers for you. So be open to talking about this when you're out talking about your new facility and your environmental plan or this permit issue or whatever the issue is. It's an opportunity to build a relationship. It's an opportunity to see if someone out there might be looking for a career. And then I think what's true for all of us is that we just have to keep looking in industries that we've not traditionally sourced workers. And challenge, I'd say, for us here in the Pacific Northwest, some of those industries are not here as much anymore. But we need to keep looking there and keep helping people that are in one line of business join us. We had, as an example, a person who had a long career at Boeing Airplane Company be recruited to come over and take a position here with Wastewater. He has an expertise in environmental issues and was putting that to work for Boeing. Well, he can do the same for us and maybe even more. So, so we'll need to keep our eyes wide and our ears open as we try to build the workforce of the future.